So instead of going with a builder who's going to give you incentives, and those things are great, and they might give you a really great rate, but you can get seller concessions.
Right.
You know, for a conventional loan, you can get 3% seller concessions or seller credits to help pay off or pay some of those closing costs.
Right.
For FHA, this is a big one, 6%. You can get up to 6% seller credits.
Right.
Which is insane.
It is.
You could cover everything.
You could cover all your closing costs and then some.
Yeah.
With
you could do
just what the seller's willing to give you to sell the house, because it's been sitting there for 6 months. They're sick of it. They want to get rid of it.
You could get, you could do a temporary rate buy down. You could buy down your rate permanently, with borrower working with now, bought down rate and temporary rate buy down.
Right.
So overall winning, right? He's
Very
going to be
much so.
paying, a 5%, 5.5%, or 5.25% rate for the first year.
Right.
Which is going to save him like $100 or $150 a month. So,
which over a year is a crazy amount of money, especially if it's just paid by the seller when you buy the home.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're ready to get rid of it. They have other plans that they're trying to do. Mm-hmm. Those D's, the diamonds, divorces, diapers, deaths, all those things that cause people to have to move now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, right now, I think we're going to see an increase this summer.
Right.
Of people coming out to buy, but their rates are still a bit high, so it's a bit hard. But even with that, you can still get a great deal on a house that's been sitting for 3 months.
It's been sitting over the winter, and they had almost no showings over the winter because nobody wants to buy in the holidays.
Yeah.
So they're ready to move.
Yeah. So overall, I think another thing, if we can go back to the slide real quick, on here, we talked about this, off camera, but attorney fees, there are things that you guys need to be aware of. You can shop around for attorneys and seeing who's going to give you the best price, who's going to perform the best. And you can pay a buttload in attorney fees if you work with somebody that's really charging you too much. And I think the big thing is you want to find an attorney that somebody recommends. You and I can recommend an attorney. Right. And I think the big thing is you have to remember that you can shop around to find what the best deal is. Right. And you, as a consumer and as a borrower, if you're buying a house, you should find the best deal and also find somebody who's also does a good job. Right. So that could save you on closing costs. And that's something that you guys should be aware of is how important it is to take advantage of the rights you have as a consumer to be able to shop around for those closing costs.
Just like you would shop around online for finding something that's on sale. Exactly. Yeah.
So that's so important. I think one of the things on here, it says your strategy for relief. What would that be? Like seller concessions?
Seller concessions is a good bit of it, shopping around attorneys, mm-hmm. different various insurance. I know you can shop around for, and certain lenders, if you're trying to find different lenders have different origination fees and they have different, various costs that they include in their closing costs. You can shop around at the different lenders. I know you work with how many?
We have about 20 lenders that we work with.
Right. And I'm sure those 20 lenders have very different closing costs.
Yeah. So, I could pull up, John Smith, who's buying a $300,000 house. Let's say he has a 700 credit score. I have a list of 20 lenders that I can go to and say, okay, this lender has the best rate and it doesn't charge them that much. It actually, let's say these are some other terms that we're going to talk about later. The par rate, which means you're not paying for paying a rebate, which would mean you're paying to get the rate lower, and you're not receiving anything back. Basically you're paying $0 to get this rate. Let's say the rate is 6.25 at one place, and you don't pay anything. And then if I want to get 6.25 at another lender, it costs me $500. Right. Okay. What do I have the ability to do that banks don't? I
Go
can
with the lender that doesn't
Yeah.
charge you that $500.
Yeah. So that's the key is as a broker, we can actually give you the best rate and we can get you get it to you the cheapest.
And cut down on those closing costs that can just add to your what you have to pay at close.